Hi.
Yeah, George and I, real quick, if you guys are coming here to watch to see the Fedor fight, just click off right now because we're not going to use you guys know that we can't show the fight, unfortunately, but we're here to talk about the Fedor fight that happened in Russia a couple hours ago.
Because if we could get away with putting up clips,
we would.
I'm pretty sure we'd be the first people to.
Yeah, and we did put up clips a long time ago, and we lost our account because of that.
What?
Yeah. Anyway, Fedor fought Jeff Monson in Russia. It's late in Russia right now. It's early here in the U.S.
They actually tried to get people to pay for this fight. This was a pay-per-view fight. The problem is that's 7:30 a.m. for us.
Yeah.
I wasn't about to watch a UFC 139 card that was outstanding.
Maybe the best ever.
To tune in for this horse shit.
Right. And that's kind of putting it lightly because the end result was Fedor got a unanimous decision over Jeff Monson. Everybody expected at least that. It's very obvious that Fedor's handlers and I'm not taking anything away from Fedor, but I'm going to say the critics, George might, but the critics are going to say that Jeff Monson was a hand-picked opponent for Fedor, and most people would have expected him to finish.
Holy one-dimensional fighter, Batman.
Jeff Monson. I mean, everybody.
Come on.
Yeah, a lot of people would have expected. One reason's being because Jeff Monson
has no striking.
He has no striking ability. He doesn't have a lot of knockout power, and if you think about it, styles make fights, and Fedor basically had really not a lot to worry about fighting Jeff Monson, in my opinion. He could dictate the fight. He did. He could pace the fight because virtually he's got a reach. He's got some height advantage over Jeff Monson.
And he did.
And he's a better striker.
That's not saying a lot.
Right. And even if Monson was to take him to a ground, which Monson attempted to do several times.
Poorly, I might add.
Right. It wasn't going to be something that Fedor had a lot to worry about because Fedor is the Sambo expert. So I just thought that this fight, a lot of people thought that it was just very hand-picked for Fedor to help him, basically get back on track because he hadn't had that was George Burper. Because basically the man hadn't had a win since he beat Brett Rogers back in 2009.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about the overall? I mean,
to me, it was a joke. It was a complete joke fight. And what I mean by joke is I'm not taking anything away from Fedor. I'm not taking anything away from Jeff Monson. They're both professional fighters. I am not. I understand that. But what I do understand is when you go as a fighter, go in and you only have to worry about whether this guy can shoot in or not. Right. And from what I'm reading, the worst shots ever.
Right.
Like he wasn't even setting them up. They just said he was just, kind of standing on the outside trying to get his... It wouldn't even jab, wouldn't do anything, and the few times he closed the distance, Fedor just threw him off.
Right.
So Fedor's obviously still in great shape.
Yeah.
Still strong, still agile, and Jeff Monson needs to go back to Abu Dhabi tournaments. He's great on the ground, and if that's your thing, stick to it. Stop doing MMA.
Right now.
Stick to your grappling.
Yeah, the thing is and what they're saying is what George is right about is that you didn't see a lot of coverage of this fight, even on the big MMA fighting, Sure Dog, Bloody Elbow. Not a lot of people covered this fight. One reason was because it was overwhelmed by UFC 139. One of the things they did say was that they saw a more technical Fedor fighting. But the thing is, and this is the problem, is you can be technical
against Jeff Monson.
Against Jeff Monson. You cannot be technical and wait around against the fighters that he's faced lately because they're going to be much more aggressive. They're better strikers. They're going to attack you, and you can't sit there and choose, use all your weapons just to effectively keep a person at distance, especially someone of Jeff Monson's stature that's only probably about 5'9", 5'10" tops. Fedor can use his range against him and dictate the fight, and that's what he did last night. And he did not finish the fight.
And if anyone's questioning Jeff Monson's striking ability, go watch this fight against Daniel Cormier.
Yeah,
Cormier, who doesn't have the greatest striking in the world either, looked like fucking Muhammad Ali versus a child in that fight because Monson he stays balled up and tight. Yeah. He moves very slowly. He kind of turns mechanically.
Right.
He is not a fluid puncher.
He's not strong at stand up. And when he did hit Daniel Cormier, it didn't do anything. He walked through his punches, and that's a guy that's his stature. Now trying to do that to a guy that's probably got 2, 3, 4 inches on you is going to be much more difficult. Now,
if the UFC doesn't sign Daniel Cormier, I'd love to watch him fight Fedor.
Yeah, he's a great fighter. I think the UFC is going to sign him. Now, going back to Fedor, he's gonna have a bout.
He's returning to Japan.
He's going to Japan. He's going back to Japan.
I think it's a good move. It's going to be a hell of a payday because those people love him. And on top of that, it's going to be for their New Year's Eve event.
Right. So that's going to happen. Who is he fighting?
And let me tell you right now, that's a quick turnaround.
Who is he fighting?
That's a quick turnaround.
And who is he fighting?
We are in the next,
one more time, who is he fighting?
We are in the next to last week here of November, and Fedor's going to turn around and fight in what, 40 days?
Yeah.
Obviously, that tells you that,
Yeah. It obviously tells you that George and I have no idea who the hell Fedor is.
No, I do. I can't pronounce his name. His last name is Ishii.
Right. I mean, and I know there's somebody out there, especially who follows that, is going to say, you know what, you guys don't know. This guy's the greatest thing since
Olympic
Jukita.
That's not even judo. That's Judoka. What is that?
I have no idea.
Is that a form of judo? That's
and once again, we're going to be criticized for not being experts, and we're not. We're not. Now,
Satoshi Isha.
Okay, there you go. That sounds like a nice piece of sushi.
I have a feeling he's going to be an undersized, one-dimensional fighter.
Right. Handpicked again for Fedor. Now, something that's just kind of making your blood boil. George, if you guys have not found out, is a huge Chael Sonnen fan.
Yes, my favorite fighter of all time. And by favorite, I hope gets AIDS and gets dead.
Wow.
I hate him. And this is my point. And all you people out there go, you got to understand that Chael Sonnen's trolling, and that's what he does. And you know what? That's fine. You found your niche. You found your groove. But in my opinion, you can't turn that shit on and off. You can't decide, I'm going to be a dick to this fighter, but I'm going to be cool here, or I'm going to do all my interviews this way. There's an interview out there with him on this Canadian cat, and every time he gets asked, when Chael Sonnen gets backed into a corner, he acts. He literally got up and walked out of the interview.
Yeah, he can't handle it.
He can't handle it. So here's the thing. Either go all in with this dick persona, or tone it back some and be a human being.
So
I don't
your
care.
thing is that you hate how he turns it off and he fucking turns it on. Like when he's promoting fights, he turns it on, and then
Koscheck is a dick all the time when there's a mic in front of him. When he's getting
more respect for that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
But when he's off the mic, I heard he's a really cool dude. And that's fine. If you want to play the heel, play the bad guy to get you have to do it against everyone. I don't give a shit if you're fighting Brian Stan or Kevin's mom or Jesus Christ himself.
My mom will shoot in on Chael Sonnen and fuck his ass up.
I would love to see it. But my thing is that's what bothers me more about Chael.
And that he's just hot and cold with that shit.
Just either be an ass or don't.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I'm going to tell you is all this shit talking and everything has got Chael Sonnen a rematch with Anderson Silva. Now, the gentleman guy, basically sent us both an email. It was in our inboxes this morning that he just can't stand the fact that
everyone's overlooking.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Chael Sonnen is a good fight. He's a great ground fighter. You can look at it any way you want to. George and I had this. George clarified for that for me, and I will give George that. I said Chael Sonnen's a good fighter. He's like, he's a great wrestler. He doesn't stand and bang with anybody, really.
He has no stand up. He has no jiu-jitsu. He's a wrestler.
Yeah, and his whole thing is that Chael Sonnen, prior to the Anderson Silva bout, that's his whole claim to fame right now. That's nothing. Everything else, he was not a UFC standout in my opinion. I mean, there'll be people that'll argue that. I don't know. I didn't see anybody just fucking running out to buy Chael Sonnen shirts or fucking get excited to see Chael Sonnen fight prior to his fight with Anderson Silva.
I mean, you don't want to occupy money laundering shirt?
No, I don't want to occupy money laundering.
Because I'm sure he has one.
Yeah. So I mean,
or occupy I take too much test and get pop shirt.
Right.
You don't want one of those?
That's a good point. Like a lot of people have overlooked the fact that he was jacked when he fought Anderson Silva.
Oh, and he will. I mean, and it leads me to this. Everyone's like, Dan Henderson looks so strong. Dan Henderson's so strong. Like, we all know why Dan Henderson's strong, because he's legally taking his test, getting off his paperwork put in, and that's the only reason somebody at 41 years old is so damn strong.
Right.
Come on.
The thing, to his defense, there's a lot of fighters out there doing that.
Yes.
And they're doing it the right way.
Right. I mean, shit, guys who are 28 who obviously have really low test levels. Right. That's Nate Marquardt.
Yeah, Nate Marquardt was doing it. Yeah, he's not even in his mid-30s yet. He's doing it. But Chael Sonnen, now, the thing remains is, did Chael Sonnen take it the right way?
Obviously not. He got caught.
Yeah, so, I mean, was he just using it? And people could sit there and say, and people, if you've never taken juice, if you've never taken steroids, testosterone, let me tell you something. You are far more aggressive. You are far stronger. You know what I mean? Huh? I mean, George knows, but it does make make you a different person in the ring. I would think just on the aggressiveness alone. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion.
I think it gives, from what I hear, it gives you a false sense of.
Godless.
I don't know. So yeah, right. Pretty much. I mean, you go in and you think you can move mountains.
Right.
I mean,
it gives you a credible amount of confidence
and stamina.
Yeah.
You want to another reason why Chael Sonnen is not tired in the 5th round after he's been grappling with it, you can go all day long. Now, there's also another bit of controversy surrounding Chael Sonnen, shocker, and Anderson Silva.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me from if you were in Anderson Silva's shoes and you went out to the interweb and you went boop boop beep 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 boop and hit send and you look up and there's a picture of Ed Soares, who is your manager, what appears to be horsing around and joking and laughing with Chael Sonnen. Anderson's hot. He still says he has some words for Ed Soares. What would you do in that situation if you were Anderson Silva?
I mean, I'd have a conversation with Soares, obviously, but you know what my conspiracy.
You know what my conversation would look like? You're Ed Soares. I'm Anderson Silva. I would kick that sawed-off midget right upside his damn head and be like, "You're fired."
I mean, do you think that it's fabricated?
The picture?
That's my conspiracy theory. You know, I'm going to go into my conspiracy theory. I'm going to pull Mel Gibson right now. It's a conspiracy theory, motherfucker. You know,
Michael Bay, it is not a conspiracy.
It's not fabricated, but the fact that Chael Sonnen is the freaking Muhammad Ali of fucking promoting fights. You know, MMA fights.
Let me tell you right now.
Okay.
If somebody came up to me and said half the shit about.
Well, the shit he said with his mom and slapping his ass.
That's what I'm saying. If me and you were hanging out and somebody came up to me and started talking all that shit, or I knew they were talking all that shit about you, the last thing you're going to do is find me going, in a picture.
Well, Anderson's not doing that shit in the picture.
No, Ed Soares is. Yeah. So that's even worse. So if somebody was talking shit about you, the last thing I'm going to do is go hang out with the person.
Right. How many people does that guy manage?
I don't care. He doesn't manage fucking Chael Sonnen.
Right.
I know that shit.
That picture. I mean, I can't elaborate on that shit because I don't know why were they?
I don't care. You know, they don't even need to be within 100 feet of each other.
Silva, you would just be hot.
I would fuck Ed Soares up. Period.
I would have to find out what's going on. I just find that shit so fucking fishy, George. To be honest with you, I don't know what the.
I don't care.
Yeah, I just think some of it is created, man, to promote fights. I do. I just think obviously, what is the next big fight on UFC?
UFC 2. The big rumor right now is UFC 2, January 28th, and they're leaning towards Chael Sonnen. And obviously, Chael Sonnen's next fight is going to be for the belt. And let me tell you, the only way he got this is with this.
Yeah.
With his mouth. He talked his way back into a title shot, and that's the God's
And the only way to promote. Yeah, promote. That's a new word. Don't bite it. The only way to promote a fight with those two guys, because I'm going to tell you what, in the mainstream world, and Fox Media is the mainstream world, and let me tell you something, if you go ask the average Joe on the street, they don't know who the fuck Chael Sonnen is. They probably don't know who Anderson Silva is.
They will here in a week.
Is to create a lot of fucking controversy so people want to see him. Our lovely camera woman actually said, I want to see Chael Sonnen fight because...
He talks shit.
Talks mad shit. Isn't that right?
She's getting tired of holding the camera. Yeah. She's like, this needs to stop.
Yeah, that needs to stop. Yeah, and on that note, she's like, you guys need to wrap it the fuck up. So we're going to wrap it the fuck up.
Have a nice day.
Later.